Hi, Pipalik.
Hey, Serafina.
I have a quick question for you. Have you ever had a moment where you've said yes to something and then immediately realized, I don't mean yes. My body's saying no, definitely no.
I totally lived like that for a while, and it's an awful feeling. It feels like you're betraying yourself ongoing.
Yep, I also know the feeling. So today we're actually going to talk about boundaries, but not in the sense of building walls and building a fortress around yourself, but about creating freedom and about living in alignment with what you're truly feeling on the inside.
Yes. So we have a very special practice for you today. This comes from my background, 15 years of experience helping others, both in finding their way through spirituality and with somatic sciences as well. And it's called the Body Compass. And it's this really amazing tool to know your truth in the moment in real time. And I can't wait to share it with you. We'll do this at the end, so stick around.
Yep, I'm excited to hear it as well. I don't know it in full detail yet, so I can't wait to hear it. And so I'm definitely a people pleaser, and I'm definitely someone who is always like willing to say yes and overrule. I mean, I've gotten better at this, but to overrule what's going on my inside just to make sure that other people are happy or that they like me, and it's not served me that well. People, like, maybe you can tell us about why being the nice one is not.
Yeah, so nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about how always being nice sucks for the person who's being nice. And eventually, this is the real thing that nobody talks. It's the ripple effect that, we need to like put out there that when you're always being nice, it doesn't just suck for you. Eventually, it can kind of suck for everyone else, especially the people you live with and are close to, because you're going to be cranky eventually. You're always doing the nice thing. You reach a limit, you're going to be really cranky, grumpy, angry. It'll come out in whatever way. Lack of patience, all the things, and it'll ripple effect out and suck for the people around you as well.
People will also feel it in your energy. It's like a whole vibe that you're then bringing to the table. They notice. So even if with the family, I've had this with family, with you guys, where I don't want to do something, and then you're not as guarded. You don't put up so much a facade. So definitely the family will notice, okay, she doesn't really want to be here or doesn't want to do this. But with friends and people where you don't feel that comfortable, you're going to put up a fake facade. But they'll still notice the energy. They'll know that, they'll feel it, that you're not into it.
It's like, and the thing is, you and I know many of you listening, we've been raised to be polite, which in other words often translates to, if you're not nice, you're not going to be accepted. You can't be in this community. So you have to be polite. And how this shows up in practical ways, like what you just said, is that when someone says, hey, you want to hang out? Or, hey, can you help me with this? Then the first answer is to say yes, to somehow make it work, even though you might be exhausted, you might need time for yourself, you might not be feeling it, you might not be in the mood. And the other thing is that it's almost taboo, because there's such tension behind it, to say, oh, I'm not going to help you now. I can help you later because right now I don't feel like it. I need to rest. Like, you can't say that. You have to make up an excuse. And that already causes this internal stress and cycle of white lies, dishonesty that makes, I feel the energy kind of discombobulated. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next step is, when you've realized you're maybe doing this and it doesn't feel right, is the whole, I feel like it's been a wave of people telling you online and all sorts of places to create boundaries. And then these boundaries often then feel like, okay, I'm going to say no. And this is not like kind of you pendulum swing into the other direction of saying yes to everything and then be like, no, this is my rules and this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm not doing. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to get in trouble because this is something I think our mom sometimes struggles with. She's working on definitely setting boundaries, and she's a wonderful human being. She's done so much, but
she's the best. She's the best.
She's the best, but she really struggles with this. Like, then she goes into she wants to set a boundary, but immediately she has that internal struggle of not feeling like she's allowed to set it, and then it becomes like combative.
Well, and to give context of that, and it's like, I feel a lot of women are raised like that, maybe our generation a little less than our moms, is to be of service constantly to the family, to your children. Just the idea, like, I need to be the one who figures out, what everyone's going to eat, take care of the home, take care that everyone's mood is okay. So there's this unspoken of sense of responsibility that is, when you're raised in that and you've been programmed to that, it's very hard to say no to, because it immediately comes with guilt. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing for others. I'm not doing my job right. And then it becomes combative. Yeah, that's you?
Oh, yeah. When I don't...
That used to be me. I want to share a story. Okay, This is the most epic story ever. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that you're somewhere out and you're looking real good, you're having lots of fun, and a guy comes up to you and wants to talk, and you're just really not in the mood. Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
So the way I used to think was like, no, go away, like, what is this? Or, oh, okay, I'll be nice, and then it gets interpreted as like saying yes to this interaction. Either way, it's stressful. And then I have a friend, Jamie, and we were at a Russian sauna in San Francisco. So you don't wear clothing. And we were on the roof wrapped in towels, though, having a really fun moment amongst women. And these men came up with that vibe, like, flirt a little bit, which is cool, that was, and the primary reaction I had was like, freeze, what do? I can't say no, but I like not digging this, like, so all this stress. And I remember Jamie just turned around and said, spoke to them as normal, human beings, and without any of the stress, just embodying her sense of what is sacred to her in the moment, what is important to her in the moment. She said, I'm having a moment with my friends here. Could you please leave us alone? And they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. All right. And they left us alone for the whole time. Whereas the stressy, edgy no, like, it's just not clear, right? Because we're not clear. And then I tried it out a couple of years ago. I was with a dear friend. We were in the city talking, and this guy came up, and he was nice and all that. But I was like, not, first of all, like, just not feeling it right now. And I just looked at him. I said, hey, hello, really human to human. I'd be like, I'm talking to my friend right now. I don't want to talk to you right now, but like in a really relaxed way. And I had the same reaction, that all the like stressy, need to set my boundary, like don't come close, or, oh, I have to be nice. None of that ever solved the problem in such a beautiful way that also felt good for everyone involved, as just calmly and honestly, full on honestly, no white lie, saying, I don't feel like it right now,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it's all about being honest and not feeling all these other emotions around it. But you can't, like, that's something you have to practice and learn, because you gave me this wisdom not too long ago, maybe a year ago, and I was out with two other girlfriends and we're hanging at a bar, and a dude came up and he was alone and traveling for work, and he was super sweet and was talking about his wife at home, and like really nice vibe, but I just couldn't do it. I haven't had a chance to practice it since, but I don't know. I think it kind of worked out in the end. It was fine, but I had the perfect moment of being like, hey, I'm here with my two girlfriends. We're just hanging out and not in
having
a
mood. Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
So were you a little bit stressed as a result?
Just in the end, I was a little annoyed that it was taking time from
Yeah.
I was talking with him, was taking time for me hanging out with the girls.
See? Yeah. So that's like that annoyance is just like a slight stressful feeling to have.
So how do you practice this as someone who,
Just do it.
someone like me who struggles with this?
Okay. Well, the other thing is to be okay with what you're feeling in the moment and to really, see allow the other person to be seen. So imagine it was the other way around. You're going up to someone, you want to have a nice chat, maybe there's other people you could have a nice chat with, but you're with these people and they're not being honest with you, that they're kind of annoyed and they don't feel like talking to you and they're not saying it. If you would know this, like, how would you feel about your time spent?
And I'd feel rejected either way.
That's a whole nother thing to dig into, that because this gets interesting, because here we have this loop, right? That if someone says no to me because they're just not in the mood, we take it personal. We feel rejected because we've been raised in this society where you got to be polite. So we are like, I'm polite, I don't send people away when they're really nice, even though I don't feel like it. I go over my own boundaries. So if someone else doesn't, then they're rejecting me. And both suck, as an inner experience. Whereas if you're just like, oh, okay, we're in this world of infinite possibility right now. And if someone says, no, I'm not feeling like it. And you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. There's a million other things I can be doing right now. And why would I want to, it's not rejection. It's just upholding, and being honest. Essentially, it's being honest to yourself about yourself and how you're feeling. And once you are able to, allow for that in others without it making you feel bad, it becomes easy to also do that for yourself. And to understand also all the stories people are going through, is that person having a bad day? Are they really tired? There's so many things that are happening.
That's definitely something that's helped me to kind of reframe that, especially when driving.
Yeah, because you're an angry driver, Fini.
I can become a very angry.
I wrote a blog post about that. Yeah. On our website.
So that helps actually. And seeing it from the other perspective and maybe just practicing or trying it out and then just not losing hope and just trying again and again and again.
Yeah, try it in small ways. I think you've already practiced on me a bunch of times, yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got much better at it.
But because we're so intertwined, I will sometimes feel rejected. I'm like why? Why is she not coming over all the time? But yeah, it's a whole thing, understanding that life is so much better and so much more inspiring and energizing when we're able to be okay with how we feel, how others feel, and responding in a chill way to that. Because most of the time, there's no reason to get super fight, flight, freeze. In our society at the moment, let it be so. But there's no real, we can always say hey, thank you. Not today.
I think for me, for everyone, it's different. But for me personally, it's been good to practice with family. So maybe now would be the next step to practice on strangers potentially. But it might be different for any of our listeners.
I would rephrase that, because family, we have a very close and trusting relationship with our family, because we've been growing up, right? We went on all trips together as a family, up until we'd already moved out of the house. We still went as a family. You still go. We still make time to really be together. So for us, family is a mostly safe environment. So I would rephrase it to anyone listening to do it with people you feel mostly safe with. Practice there.
Exactly. But some people will feel safe practicing this with strangers, maybe friends. You can even talk to friends and say, hey, I'm practicing, or with family. That's probably a good way. With people you can say, hey, I'm practicing to, not overextend myself, or to watch my health or my mental health or whatever it is. And I'm going to try this now, and I hope you're supportive.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this is where we transition into boundaries that aren't walls, stressful walls, and rules, what you mentioned earlier, right? Where we're like, I'm always like this, and that. And someone comes in, like, just this very, put a lot of energy into it, versus, which is kind of, I think it is what I mentioned in the story, right? On the roof of the Russian sauna, versus just calmly being in your center, in your sacred space.
Yeah.
In all the magical traditions I've studied, right, there's always this talk of sacred space. And I love, 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐌𝐄𝐑 first told me about this, that we don't, because so many sacred traditions, they say you're creating sacred space. And I find that a fallacy, because it means we have to do something in order for the space, the present moment, whatever, to become sacred. Like, let's create sacred space. Everyone says that. But Theo told me many years ago, and it just hit me. It was like, we're not creating sacred space. We're turning our awareness to it. Mm-hmm. So if we turn our awareness, because everything's always sacred, to our body, to us, how we feel, how someone else is feeling, all of that is sacred, then it's less about setting up a defensive wall and more of declaring out loud what is sacred to you, but doing this in this with this feeling of, I think I would say it's personal power, confidence, presence, maybe a full possession of self. You're fully in yourself and all your parts. And then you can, and so it's not that easy, what you said. You got to practice and expand. And there's other practices of like becoming self, truly beneath all identity layers, like cultural upbringing, who we believe we are. Like, I believe I'm a polite person, I'm a nice person, I'm an open person, I'm a welcome, like all those things. You have to go underneath all those layers to something else that's more like cosmic stardust, infinite radiating light, and you let that fill you, like the epicness of that, and then upholding what is right and good for you in the moment becomes something else entirely, something that feels really magical.
Mm-hmm. All right. So in the end,
all right.
Or at this point, so we have two kinds of yeses. We have the kind of yes where you say yes out of obligation or fear of missing out or fear of any kind of repercussions it might have. And then you have that yes out of alignment, out of being in your sacred space. Is that what you're saying? Or being turned towards your sacred space?
Well, yeah, just you're in alignment with your essence, with your truth, with the mystics, they talk about it. It's that when you come to this is why like mysticism and crazy people who are laughing like often get put into the same drawer, because it's this radiant, joyful light. It's like epic love. It's hard to describe, that's why there's so much poetry. Mystics tend to be poets. Enlightened people tend to also write poetry, because it's hard to, it's like saying, oh, tell me what love is, like, why do you love your parents or your children or your friends? Like, describe that. And then that's why we have to turn to metaphor often, essentially, because we end up saying, oh, it's like we do this. Love means I do this thing or I feel this way. But it's far more vivid, beautiful. Like, you just gotta experience it. Like, experience your essence. Make time for that, to feel this like radiance that is underneath everything. And on the other side of that, you might find yourself laughing like a crazy person for 20 minutes and then finding a deep sense of peace, where it's easy to say yes. And that's it.
So if you're saying yes out of all these, the should yes,
yes,
it makes you small, angry, darkness,
frustrated. But maybe it's easier to translate this. Actually, Good point, Feeney.
I want to visualize for everyone out there. It's like, okay, why should I even do this? What does it look like if you're saying should yeses versus then what do you become if you practice and learn how to say yes from?
Yeah. Okay, make it real practical. The should yes. Yeah? The should yes. And I'm going to draw on my background in somatic practices as well. So this is part of what I do when I work with clients and teach courses. There's always this combo of modern somatic science because it's such a great tool to understand and feel what's going on. So the should yes, shoulder tension very often, not in the stomach, like the body moving backwards a little bit or contracting. It can feel heavy, like what you described, like a dark cloud inside. And if we're used to it, if we're conditioned to it, we'll not notice. You know, it's like, I don't know, if you haven't like taken a shower in a long time, you've been in the jungle or in a retreat or festival, and then you like get used to it after a couple of days, you know? It's like, oh, this is the new baseline. That's what the should yes can feel like. That's the baseline. And then you come out of the jungle and you take that first shower and you're like, oh, I remember what it's like to be clean. You know? And then this is what the sacred yes, the honest yes will feel like, you know, that. So understand that it's a journey is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what does the end look like? I mean, it's a forever journey, but what does it feel like when
the true yes?
Well, yeah, when you've really...
So it feels like an increase in energy. It feels like spaciousness in the mind. It feels like if an angry person, you do something in the street, someone gets angry at you, because this is part of it, right? The inner and the outer world. So if someone else has that expression and you no longer take it personally because you're in that way, like it dissipates. You know, it doesn't, sometimes, I don't know, a lot of people, I think a lot of us, someone screams at us and we're like, you know, did I do something wrong? Was it bad? Like, oh, that was stressful, this awful person. And it's this loop for so long. And so this place of peace and alignment and upholding your own space also allows for that events like that to dissipate faster, because you're like, I know what I do. I know what I need to do to take care of myself. And I did say energy increases. We often, like, it comes with, in some ways, being more charismatic. Like there's this radiance that comes out. There's an increase in patience and kindness. Because we have less to be frustrated about. And
how do relationships change?
A lot, you know, a lot. It becomes easier and it becomes more relaxed. Because instead of, I mean, I know a common from my personal experience is saying yes out of guilt. You know, I'm supposed to be helpful. I'm supposed to take care of everyone else first. And then this becomes anger, like, oh, I don't have time for myself because of you, you know? No. And so making that step, being like, oh, I'm being driven by this guilt. These are my internal stories. And it changes a lot, because then we're able to say, you know what? I need 5 minutes in a hot shower, and then I'll come out and help you guys. You know, it's this, just the sense of peace and also clarity. You know, when we know ourselves, we're with our truth, then we can, and sometimes responsibilities don't let us say no, right? And
yeah, I'm super excited to hear what the practice is now. But right? Before we dig into that, there's so many things that we do have to do that are not hell yeses, like doing our taxes, or, I mean, these are not things where I feel excited. But then again, it's alignment, because, right, you need to do it.
Well, and I mean, I don't know if there's anyone out there who got raised to be like, getting stuff out of the way is so fun and rewarding. Taxes, oh my God, I'm going to do this because, like, this is what I need to do to be in the world. maybe it's not ooh, yes, but it's like, okay, it's not a stressful thing. And so this can also change. Like I feel a lot less stressed and a lot less procrastinating than I have in a very long time. Like each year it gets better because I'm applying this to things like my taxes too. And my super sacred alignment, yes, is saying, get this out of the way, free your mind. So rather than it feeling punishing, eye rolly, I have to do this, oh, it's stressful because I need to also procrastinate it. Just because something that we do.
What if you have a family member that you need to take care of? That's something that's come up often.
Yeah, like children or an aging or ill. Yeah. So here, self-knowledge and self-care, knowing yourself and being able to take care of yourself is so vital. So this is something I've had to learn in the high intensity gym that is called, you have two very young children, both of them, below the age of 4, only 2 years apart. Like, let's go. And it looked like not showering for days initially, like doing nothing for myself, not working out anymore. And then at the end of the day, like escapism, right? Rather than presence, just out of exhaustion and habits came in. And I remember that it was very, very easy. This is kind of a different topic, but algorithms, like everything our society is built to get us addicted, we become very vulnerable to it when we're tired and when we have the weight of a lot of responsibility in our shoulders, not a lot of time. And then it's like, before you even were able to think about it, your phone's in your hand and 30 minutes are gone or an hour are gone that could have been used to fill your cup. So I think it goes beyond the sacred boundary of this podcast to go deep into all the practices I did and do to counteract that, and to remember to figure out how to fill my own cup when there's not a lot of time, not a lot of sleep, not a lot of resources. That's, I think, a deeper subject. So I want to keep it.
Let's not go into that further. Let's
keep it on the easy one.
Please comment, send us a message, connect with us. Let us know if you want to hear more about that. But I feel like the children thing is something, you choose children, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but you don't choose a parent that suffers from Alzheimer's or certain diseases, or
you don't choose
would you
it.
Huh?
No, like, you don't choose it in a lot of worldviews, and you can say, oh, that's a burden, that's stressful, and it is, especially in the way our culture is. Some would say you choose your contract before you're born. You choose the kind of life you come into. There's that can also come with its own issues and complexities depending on like where you're at and how your life is. But that's also a worldview. So then when we adapt a worldview like that, then we can feel like I chose this. This is part of what I'm meant to do in this lifetime. And I'm showing up for it out of love and because this is what I need to do this time in my life. And from that perspective, we can find a sense of inner peace. So there's many ways to shift consciousness, to work with consciousness and journey towards inner peace when we are in a situation that just is, we have this responsibility. There's no way out. I mean, even with kids, not everyone chooses to have kids.
That's true.
Once you have them and you're like, this is not what I thought I was, what I was getting. Like, so there's so many ways in which we don't have control in life. So being at peace with that in the moment and seeing like, how can I just be with it? Honestly, is that. and show up to it and see how I can grow and learn from it. That's always the shift also. When I'm ill or when something horrible has happened to me in the past, when I shift from being in the emotions of it to what can I learn from it? How can I grow? How can this become the fuel or the fertilizer for something beautiful? Then my mind starts looking for those opportunities rather than being in a stress cycle of I'm stuck wiping, I don't know, the poop off the butt of a really old person every day that I love, but I'm so over it. And it's like, whatever it is, that can, like in alchemy, one of the base elements to become gold is poop. So there's something the mystics know and the sacred teachings know about like the most sucky stuff you can imagine, and how it can turn also to this radiance, golden, sacred light that just brings so much joy when you experience it. Yeah.
So we can definitely do another episode on that as well, about mindset shift and turning
but
things
let's go
hard. Yeah, let's get into the practice, please, because there's so many. You can probably think of millions of situations where you can choose the should yes or the aligned yes. So how do we do that? How do we find our compass?
Yeah.
Body compass.
Body compass. So this is a somatic practice in essence, but we can sprinkle a little bit of magic in it if we want. Basically, it is getting to know yourself. So know thyself. This is already sacred mystery teachings. The more you know yourself, the more you know everything else is the idea. Macrocosm, microcosm. And so first, what you want to do is get to know the language of your body. So what this means in practice is as you go through your life, just start to pay attention. And sometimes listening to a podcast like this one is enough to like shift your awareness and be like, oh, I just said yes to, I don't know, meeting a friend for a drink and I didn't feel like it. And then I went and I don't know, whatever it turns out to be, like maybe it was good, maybe it sucked, but there's still this like edge to it. Or I said no, but I wanted to say yes, because that would have been a wild and weird, crazy thing to do. So paying attention, like how does your body react when you say yes to someone, but it's a no? Like, do you feel something in your throat? If I think about it, I feel like it's in my solar plexus, actually. I feel like a contraction. This shoulder tension and facial tension for me, that's gotten more intense since my facial paralysis. So there are these places in my body where I can feel the no. And there's also places in my body where I feel a yes, even though everything in my brain's like, what? No. So I've learned to listen to the sacred yes sooner than be really good at this. The sacred no came later. That was easier for me. And once you know your body, you can start applying that to questions when you're just at home.
But how do I practice this if I'm
getting to
someone's
that now.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is step one, is like get to know your body. You know, how does your body respond? And for that, all you need to do is pay attention as you go through life. You'll notice. Yeah. So then you get a sense of like, oh, this is what my body feels like when it's more of a no. This is what my body feels like when it's a yes, and so on. And then the next step, because like you said, when you were out with your friends, you weren't able to apply it yet in the real life situation. So the next step is to, when you have questions, like, should I do this? Should I meet that person? Or something where there's a buffer of time and you don't have to immediately respond, like in the case of being outside and having a person interact with you. As you sit with the question, you stand ideally or lie down, and then you feel how your body responds. And if that's hard, if you have a really hard time getting out of your mind, which I know is going to be the case for a lot of people, put on your favorite song and dance like a crazy person. Like let loose in some way. That's a really great way to get out of the head. Another one is box breathing, because it also keeps your mind busy, gets you out of your head and into your body. Box breathing is you inhale to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4. You repeat that a few times. That's another way to just calm down and center yourself. And then once you're in that position, then you just put the question in front of you, should I do this thing? And then see if your body expands or contracts. Play around with this. And yes, I know there are more complex questions where that's not going to work as an immediate answer. But I also know there's a lot of like everyday questions where the answer is going to be really clear. Mm-hmm. And so we start with the small things. And over time, we build trust. We build this way of being in relationship with ourselves, our truth. And then from there, we grow, we expand, and then we move to more complex things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I could have tried this. I could have gone to the bathroom on that night out. I probably went anyways and just taken a moment and then maybe felt it in my body and then felt the courage to just go through with it.
To just like give the person a chance also to be human. I often think of it that way. Like give them an opportunity to relate as human beings and be like, hey, you know what? You seem like a really nice person. And like you want to hang out, but I'm here having a special moment with my friends and we really just want to be with each other today.
Yeah. That's a really good one. That would have helped me to kind of appreciate the other person.
Yeah.
And yeah, because he was a nice man, for sure.
Yeah. And that gives him a chance, right? To show up with his kindness. Yeah. And another final note, because we have something really awesome to self-knowledge, is we have this beautiful, beautiful course that was born deep in the redwood forest in California, an initiatory journey. It's called Journey to Your Essence. And it combines somatic practices, magical spiritual sprinkles, stardust all over with journaling practices, modern somatic science, all of that in this 12-module course that includes a one-on-one private ritual with me at the end, where you uncover all the layers of your identity, like your relationships, the names with which you identify, the contracts you have in your life. You move through all of those with deep practices through various modules in preparation of a final ritual where you in a drum journey, which is a way of altered states of consciousness, which means you get an experience that touches all your parts, right? It goes deep, deep into the body where you then get to meet and experience that radiant essence within. Yes.
And this course is amazing because it's a fast track to meeting that radiant essence within that you,
you get to experience.
It took you years to learn all of these things that accumulate all the wisdom to build this course. So it's super special.
Yeah. Yes, it is really special. It's like, and it works. It works. And so many, because it's this glimpse of like what enlightenment is also. And so many mystics and wisdom keepers today say that there's like more than ever a chance for everyone to glimpse and to become enlightened, even if just for a moment, to know what that feels like. So I think there's the potential for a lot of beautiful change in this world if we all take the time to do it. Yeah.
All right. I think this is a beautiful note to end on. If you want to check it out, we're at www.magiciskey.com. That's www.magiciskey.com. So find us there. You can figure it out in the show notes. And if you want us to continue making podcasts and you enjoyed this and you took something out of it, then please like, subscribe, and find us on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yes. Because honestly, we spend all this time, before we buy a product, we spend all this time researching it in order to know if we can trust the product to do what it's going to do for us. So how can we trust ourselves if we don't take the time to get to know ourselves first, like in depth? That's what this really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. See you
All
soon.
right. Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.